My wife texted, "I'm filing for divorce and claiming you're mentally unfit. I'm taking everything." I replied, "Noted." Then I emailed her lawyer the 150 pages of emails she left open on our desk. Her frantic call, the next morning about the divorce, blew my mind. I'm 40 years old, and until 3 weeks ago I thought I had a decent marriage. Not perfect, but decent. My wife Laura and I had been together for 12 years, married for 9. We owned a house in the suburbs, had 2 cars, a dog named Murphy, and what I believed was a partnership built on trust. Looking back now, I can see the cracks that were always there. I just chose not to look at them too closely. That was my first mistake. It started on a Tuesday evening in late September. I remember the date specifically because it was the day before our anniversary. I came home from picking up groceries to find Laura sitting at the kitchen table with her laptop and a glass of wine. The kitchen light was dim, and she had that focused look she gets when she's deeply absorbed in something. She didn't look up when I walked in. I put the bags down on the counter and started unpacking them, waiting for her to acknowledge me. Nothing. "Hey," I said after a minute. "Do you want help with dinner?" "No," she said without looking up from the screen. I put the milk in the fridge. "Everything okay?" "We need to talk, but not now. I'm busy." Her voice was flat, distant. I stood there for a moment, holding a bag of apples, trying to figure out what I'd done wrong. Had I forgotten something? Was she mad about the weekend when I'd stayed up late working on a client project? I couldn't pin it down, so I did what I'd been doing for months. I let it go. I made myself dinner, ate alone while watching something mindless on my phone, and went to bed early. Laura came to bed sometime after midnight. I pretended to be asleep. The next morning, I woke up to a text message at 6:47 a.m. Laura had already left for work. Her side of the bed was cold. I reached for my phone, expecting maybe a happy anniversary message or at least something neutral. Instead, I got this. "I'm filing for divorce and claiming you're mentally unfit. I'm taking everything. My lawyer says you won't have a case. Don't bother fighting it." I sat there in bed, staring at my phone screen, reading the message over and over. Mentally unfit? I'd never had a psychiatric diagnosis in my life. I didn't have anger issues. I'd never been violent, never even raised my hand to anyone. I didn't drink excessively, didn't do drugs, didn't gamble. I worked from home doing software consulting, paid the bills on time, took care of the house, walked the dog every morning at 7. I was boring, if anything. What the hell was she talking about? My heart was pounding, but my mind went cold and clear. I've always been like that in a crisis. The panic comes later. In the moment, I just think. And what I was thinking was, this is planned. This is calculated. Laura doesn't do anything without a strategy. If she's this confident, she's been building this case for a while. I texted back, "Noted." That was it. No argument, no panic, no, "Please don't do this," or "Can we talk about it?" Just noted, because I needed her to think I was either defeated or stupid. I needed time to figure out what the hell was happening. I got out of bed, fed Murphy, and went straight to the home office. Laura and I shared a desk in the spare bedroom. 2 monitors, 2 keyboards, 1 workspace. She usually used her laptop for personal stuff, but sometimes she'd plug it into the main monitor when she needed a bigger screen for spreadsheets or presentations. I turned on the main monitor, and there it was. Her Gmail account, still logged in. She'd forgotten to log out. Now I know what you're thinking. Invasion of privacy, right? And you're not wrong. But she'd just told me she was going to claim I was mentally unfit and take everything I'd worked for. Our home, my savings, everything. So yeah, I looked. And what I found made my blood run cold. There were emails going back 4 months between Laura and her lawyer, a guy named Richard Pemberton. The subject lines alone were damning. Documentation strategy, behavioral evidence log, timeline for filing. I opened them one by one, and the picture became crystal clear. Laura had been building a case against me for months. In the emails, She outlined a detailed strategy. Document everything I did that could be twisted into erratic behavior. She kept a log, an actual log. Things like, September 3rd, subject stayed up until 2 a.m. working. Did not respond when I asked him to come to bed. Possible insomnia indicating mental distress. September 10th, subject forgot to respond to my text for 3 hours while working. Shows lack of awareness and focus. September 15th, subject raised his voice during argument about my mother's unannounced visit. Displayed aggression and inability to regulate emotions. I remembered that argument. Her mother had shown up at 8 in the morning on a Saturday without calling first. I'd been in my pajamas. I'd said, "Laura, can you please ask your mom to call before coming over?" In a frustrated tone. That was it. That was the aggression. Every little thing had been documented and reframed. Late nights working on deadlines became insomnia. Focused work time became dissociation. Normal human frustration became emotional instability. She was building a false narrative, and her lawyer was helping her do it. But that wasn't even the worst part. There were also emails between Laura and someone named Derek. Lots of them. The first ones I found were from July. They started professional enough, something about a work project. But by mid-July, the tone had shifted. Flirty comments, inside jokes. Then August came, and the emails turned explicit. Plans to meet at hotels, detailed descriptions of what they'd done together, timestamps, locations, everything. My hands were shaking as I scrolled through them. There were dozens. In one email from early September, Derek wrote, "Once you're free of him and get the house, we can finally start our life together. I'm so tired of hiding this." Laura replied, "I know, baby." Richard says the mental unfitness angle will work. He'll be so caught off guard he won't know what hit him. He's not smart enough to fight back. It'll be fast, not smart enough. That's what she thought of me. I sat there for a long moment, just breathing. Then I got to work. I took screenshots of everything, every email, every text log she'd saved in her drafts, every piece of her evidence log where she'd twisted innocent moments into signs of mental illness. Then I exported the entire email thread as a PDF, 153 pages total. I saved copies in 3 different places: my personal laptop, a USB drive, and a cloud storage account Laura didn't know I had. Then I did something I'm still not sure was smart or just satisfying. I found Richard Pemberton's law firm email address in the correspondence and sent him the entire file with a subject line that read, "Discovery documents you may find relevant to your client's case." In the body of the email, I wrote, "Mr. Pemberton, I'm the husband of your client, Laura Mitchell. I believe in full transparency during legal proceedings. Attached, you'll find communications between your client and a third party, as well as documented evidence of your client's stated intention to present false claims of mental unfitness in divorce proceedings. I thought you should have access to all relevant facts before moving forward. Best regards." Then I hit send. For a moment, I just sat there, staring at the screen. Then I closed the laptop, went downstairs, and took Murphy for a walk. It was a beautiful morning. The air was crisp. The leaves were just starting to turn. I walked for an hour, letting my mind settle. When I got back home, I made coffee, sat down at my desk, and worked on a client project like it was any other day. Around noon, I got a text from Laura. "Did you get my message this morning?" I replied, "Yes." 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, "That's it? No response?" I wrote, "I'm processing." She didn't reply after that. I figured she was feeling smug, thinking I was broken or scared or maybe already looking for a therapist to prove I wasn't crazy. That was fine. Let her think that. I worked until 5, then made myself dinner. Murphy sat at my feet while I ate, and I gave him little pieces of chicken. The house was quiet, peaceful even. I went to bed early and slept better than I had in months. Update 1. The next morning at 7:14 a.m., my phone rang. It was Laura. I let it go to voicemail. She called again immediately, then again. By the fourth call, I figured I'd better answer or she'd just show up at the house. "What the fuck did you do?" she screamed. No hello, no preamble, just raw, unfiltered rage. "Good morning to you too," I said calmly. "I'm doing well, thanks for asking. Don't fucking play with me. What did you send to Richard?" "I sent your lawyer some documents," I said, keeping my voice level. "I thought he should have full disclosure before proceeding with a case. You know, ethical responsibility and all that." "You went through my emails." "That's illegal. That's invasion of privacy. That's—" "You left your email open on a shared computer in our shared home office," I interrupted. "Besides, I thought you'd want your lawyer to have all the facts. You were the one who taught me about the importance of documentation, remember? I learned from the best." She made a sound that was half scream, half growl. "You're insane. This is exactly why I need to get away from you. You're proving my point." "Am I?" I asked. "Because from where I'm sitting, I calmly provided factual evidence to an attorney who was about to file false claims in court. That seems pretty rational to me. But hey, I'm not a lawyer. You're going to regret this. You're going to fucking regret this." "Is Derek on the line with you?" I asked quietly. "Or is he waiting until after the call?" Dead silence. Then, "Fuck you." She hung up. I poured myself another cup of coffee and went back to work. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed with an email. It was from Richard Pemberton himself. Subject line, "Withdrawal of representation." The email was short and professionally worded. "Dear Mr. Mitchell, after reviewing new information that has come to light, I must withdraw as counsel for Laura Mitchell due to ethical concerns and conflict of interest. I have advised Mrs. Mitchell to seek alternative legal representation. This withdrawal is effective immediately. Regards, Richard Pemberton, Esquire." I read it 3 times, then forwarded it to myself twice, printed it, and saved it to a USB drive. Then I called Tom Patterson, a lawyer who'd handled our house closing 9 years ago. He was semi-retired now, but still took cases occasionally. "Tom, it's Alex Mitchell. I need a divorce attorney. Do you handle those, or can you recommend someone?" "I can help," Tom said. "What's going on?" I told him everything: the text message, the emails, the affair, the false mental fitness claims, the evidence I'd gathered. Tom was quiet for a long moment after I finished. "Alex," he finally said, "you just won your divorce before it even started. This is the most open and shut case I've seen in 30 years. So, what do I do now?" "You sit tight. Let her make the next move. Document everything. Every call, every text, every interaction. Don't engage emotionally. And whatever you do, don't leave that house." "I'm not going anywhere," I said. Laura came home that evening around 6. I was in the living room with Murphy, reading a book. She walked in, threw her purse on the couch, and stood in front of me with her arms crossed. Her face was red, and I could tell she'd been crying. For a second, I almost felt bad. Almost. "You ruined everything," she said. Her voice was shaking. "No," I said, not looking up from my book. "You did. I just documented it. Richard dropped me. Do you know how humiliating that is? Do you know how much I paid him? $5,000 in retainer fees, and now he won't even return my calls?" "You paid him to lie in court about my mental fitness," I said, closing the book and finally meeting her eyes. "That's fraud, Laura. That's suborning perjury. Richard knows that if he proceeded with your case using false evidence, he could be disbarred. So yeah, I'd drop you too." She sat down heavily on the arm of the couch. For a moment, she looked small and lost. Then her jaw tightened. "I want the house." I actually laughed. I couldn't help it. "You're not getting the house. I've lived here for 9 years. I decorated it. I made it a home. So have I. And I paid 70% of the mortgage, and you've been cheating on me for at least 6 months. And you tried to falsely claim I'm mentally unfit to steal everything from me. So no, Laura, you're not getting the house. You're not getting Murphy. You're barely getting anything. Her face went white, then red. This isn't over. Yeah, I said, opening my book again. It is. Update 2. Laura moved in with her sister 3 days later. She came by with her sister and a friend to pack up her things. I stayed in the office while they worked, but I could hear them talking in low, angry voices. She took clothes, some books, her laptop, kitchen items she claimed were hers, and a few pieces of furniture from the guest room. I didn't fight about any of it. Material things didn't matter anymore. She didn't ask about Murphy. Not once. The dog she'd supposedly loved. The dog we'd adopted together 5 years ago, and she just left him without a word. That told me everything I needed to know about who Laura really was. Tom filed for divorce on my behalf 2 days after Laura moved out. We included the email evidence, all 153 pages. We filed for full division of assets based on actual financial contribution, and we filed a restraining addendum against any claims of mental unfitness unless Laura could provide actual psychiatric evaluation and medical evidence, which, of course, she couldn't, because there wasn't any. Tom also sent a courtesy letter to Derek's employer's HR department. Not a legal action, just an informational notice about workplace relationships that had led to litigation. We didn't have to do that, but Tom said it was good to establish a record in case Laura or Derek tried to retaliate professionally. I approved it. Laura's new lawyer, some guy she found through a referral, tried to negotiate. The first offer came via email, 50-50 split of all assets, no fault divorce, both parties walk away clean. In exchange, I would agree not to pursue any legal action related to the affair or the attempted fraud. Tom laughed when he read it to me over the phone. They're scared, he said. They know they have no leverage. He sent back a counteroffer. Laura gets 20% of marital assets based on her actual financial contribution to the marriage. I keep the house and my retirement accounts. She keeps her car and her own retirement account, and she signs away any claim to alimony or future earnings. If she refused, we would file a countersuit for attempted fraud, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and we'd pursue full disclosure of the affair in court proceedings. It wasn't about being vindictive. It was about protecting myself and making sure Laura couldn't come back in 5 years claiming she deserved more. Her lawyer asked for a week to review. Tom gave them 3 days. They signed on day 2. During this time, I also found out more about Derek. Turns out he was married too. Wife, 2 kids, house in the suburbs, the whole picture. I didn't have to do anything with that information. His wife found out on her own when Laura, in what I can only describe as a catastrophic lapse in judgment, called Derek's wife to explain the situation. According to Derek's wife, who somehow got my number and called me one evening, Laura had tried to paint herself as the victim. She told Derek's wife that I was controlling and emotionally abusive, that Derek had rescued her from a toxic marriage, that they were in love and planning a future together. She actually used the word rescue. Derek's wife didn't buy it for a second. She'd apparently had suspicions for months and had been gathering her own evidence. Laura's call just confirmed everything. She filed for divorce the same week, and from what I heard through the grapevine, she took Derek to the cleaners. Turns out his affair violated a fidelity clause in their prenup. He lost the house, most of his savings, and got limited custody of his kids. I felt bad for Derek's wife and kids. They didn't deserve any of this. But Derek? He made his choices. Laura tried to text me a few times after the papers were signed. The first message came late one night. Can we talk things through like adults? I think we both made mistakes here. I didn't respond. A few days later, you destroyed my life. You're vindictive and cruel. I hope you're happy. Still didn't respond. Then, about 3 weeks after she'd moved out, I got a long text at 2 a.m. I still love you. I made a mistake. Derek wasn't what I thought he was. Can we try again? I'll do therapy. I'll do whatever it takes. Please. I stared at that message for a long time. Part of me, a small, stupid part, wanted to believe her. Wanted to believe that the woman I'd married was still in there somewhere. But then, I remembered the evidence log, the calculated cruelty of her plan, the not smart enough comment. And I remembered that love doesn't look like what Laura had shown me. I deleted the text and blocked her number. Final update. The divorce was finalized 6 weeks ago on a cold Tuesday morning in November. I didn't have to appear in court. Tom handled everything remotely. The judge signed the decree, and just like that, 12 years together ended with a legal stamp. I got the house, my car, Murphy, and about 70% of our combined assets, which was fair based on what I'd contributed financially. Laura got her car, her personal retirement account, and about $30,000 from our joint savings. No alimony, no future claims, clean break. The decree also included a mutual non-disparagement clause. Neither of us can publicly badmouth the other or discuss the details of the divorce without risking legal penalties. Tom insisted on that, and I'm glad he did. I haven't seen Laura since the day she moved out. I heard through a mutual friend, someone from our old neighborhood, that she and Derek broke up about 2 weeks after his divorce proceedings started. Apparently, he blamed her for ruining his marriage and his finances. The irony wasn't lost on me. She's living in a small one-bedroom apartment across town now, still working at the same company. I don't know if she's happy. I don't really care. That sounds harsh, but it's true. She made her choices, and she has to live with them. Just like I have to live with mine. I'm doing okay. Better than okay, actually. The house feels different now, quieter, but in a good way. I've been working more, which helps keep my mind occupied. I reconnected with some friends I'd lost touch with over the years. Turns out, when you're in a toxic marriage, you don't realize how much you've isolated yourself until you're out of it. Murphy's doing great. He's getting older. He'll be 6 in January. But he still has plenty of energy. We've been going on longer walks now, exploring trails I never had time for before. Sometimes I talk to him while we walk, telling him about my day, about what I'm thinking. He's a good listener. Last weekend, I repainted the living room. It had been this beige color that Laura picked out years ago. I painted it a deep blue instead. It's a small thing, but it felt significant. Like I was finally making the space mine again. A few people have asked me if I regret not fighting harder to save the marriage. The answer is no. You can't save something that was already dead. Laura made her choices long before she sent that text. She'd been planning to betray me for months, maybe longer. The affair, the false accusations, the calculated cruelty, that wasn't a mistake. That was who she chose to be. I replied noted to her divorce text because I knew that engaging emotionally would only give her ammunition. I knew that the truth would speak louder than anything I could say in anger or hurt. And it did. Someone at work asked me last week what I learned from all this. I thought about it for a while before answering. I think I learned that trust is everything. Once it's broken, you can't rebuild it with the same person. I learned that documentation matters. That protecting yourself isn't the same as being vindictive. I learned that sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is walk away with your dignity intact. I also learned that I'm stronger than I thought I was. 3 months ago, if someone had told me I'd be divorced, living alone, and actually okay with it, I wouldn't have believed them. But here I am, still standing, still moving forward. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe I'll date again eventually. Maybe I won't. Right now, I'm just focused on rebuilding my life on my own terms. I'm working on projects I care about. I'm spending time with people who actually value me. I'm learning to be alone without being lonely. And every morning, I wake up in my house, make coffee, and take Murphy for a walk while the sun comes up. It's a simple routine, but it's mine. Nobody's documenting it as evidence of instability. Nobody's plotting to take it away from me. It's just life, uncomplicated, and honest. That's enough for me right now. More than enough. Edit. A lot of people have asked about Derek's situation. Last I heard, his divorce cost him about $200,000 in assets plus ongoing child support and limited custody. His wife got the house and primary custody of their 2 kids. He's apparently living in a rental and barely speaking to Laura. They both learned that fantasy affairs built on lies don't survive in the real world. Edit 2. Someone asked if I ever confronted Laura about the "not smart enough" comment. I didn't. The best response to someone who underestimates you is proving them wrong through actions, not words. She thought I'd roll over. I didn't. That's answer enough.